Today, we're going to dive into some of the most mentally, physically, and emotionally crushing moments where Peter embarrassed Meg. There are plenty of cringeworthy moments that made Meg wish she could disappear. Watch the full video to find out which one made you cringe the most. While the Griffins are on a road trip and stop at a gas station, Peter decides to be utterly shameless and takes things to the next level in his usual unpredictable style.
Jeez, I gotta get gas. Hey, any of you guys want a soda?
As the family is refueling, Peter steps out of the car completely naked.
Hey, look, Meg, it's Kevin from next door. I didn't know you worked here.
Yes, no clothes whatsoever. This in itself is already embarrassing, but what really cranks the awkwardness up to 11 is when Peter, in his usual oblivious manner, calls Meg's crush, Kevin, over to talk to her while he's standing there in all his naked glory.
Hey, she's right in there. Right there.
Peter takes his talent for embarrassing Meg to new heights when he decides to go undercover at her high school.
Oh my God.
After learning that students are getting high by licking toads, Peter, under the alias Lando Griffin, dons a ridiculous outfit and infiltrates James Woods High.
If you must know, I've gone undercover to get rid of the toad problem, so your school can be safe and innocent, like the good old days.
Instead of acting like a responsible parent, Peter fully embraces the role of a high schooler and quickly becomes one of the cool kids.
No relation. So tell me, homeboy, how about the baggy clothes we kids are wearing these days? Aren't they fat and stupid and poppin' fresh?
While Peter's antics are already questionable, the humiliation for Meg kicks into overdrive when she tries to use Peter's newfound popularity to boost her own status.
I see. Well, I'm gonna have a little talk with that Connie.
Good luck.
Instead of subtly helping her out, Peter goes all out in the most cringeworthy way possible. He performs an outlandish dance routine during a school assembly.
Party, and you'll lose all control.
Shouting Meg out in front of everyone as if she's a charity case. Instead of making her cool, Peter makes her the subject of ridicule, solidifying her spot as the awkward kid with the weird
How
dad.
come I'm going to the winter snowball with Lando?
Meg, you got a date? Oh, wait till I tell your mother.
Peter's inability to dial things down doesn't stop there. Throughout the episode, he prioritizes hanging out with the cool kids and continuously ignores Meg's feelings. Worse, he even inadvertently mocks her lack of social standing by flaunting his own fake popularity, which only deepens Meg's embarrassment. Peter once again proves he's a master at embarrassing Meg in public, and this time he does it on a much bigger stage, literally the pages of the local newspaper. When Meg joins the school newspaper to impress a college recruiter, Peter decides to help in his usual destructive way.
Oh, this'll never get Meg on the paper. This is old news.
Instead of letting Meg write her own story, he forges one under her name about actor Luke Perry, claiming he is gay. The article becomes a sensational hit, and while Peter is thrilled with the attention, Meg is mortified. She didn't even know about the article until it was already published.
Oh my God! Meg Griffin, you are so sued.
And now she's left to deal with the fallout. Her classmates, teachers, and even the town treat her as the face of the scandal, forcing her to confront Luke Perry himself. Peter's actions hit their peak when, instead of apologizing for ruining her credibility, he doubles down on his scheme. He forges fake photos of Luke Perry to back up the story, dragging Meg further into public humiliation. To make matters worse, when Meg tries to explain that she had nothing to do with the article, no one believes her because Peter keeps proudly taking credit for the brilliant journalism. Peter's unique parenting style once again takes a turn for the embarrassing when Meg ends up in the hospital after a near-drowning incident. Peter, initially distraught, suddenly becomes overly protective of Meg, but in the most over-the-top and embarrassing ways possible. One standout moment that cements Peter as the ultimate source of public embarrassment for Meg occurs at her church gathering.
Meg, you look beautiful.
Here, Meg starts flirting with a local boy named Michael, and things seem to be going well for her for once. But Peter, incapable of leaving well enough alone, steps in with his fatherly wisdom, a disaster waiting to happen. He starts loudly proclaiming inappropriate and cringeworthy advice about dating and relationships.
But this changes everything. I want to be there for you, Meg. I love you. Will you marry me?
Yes! Of course!
Drawing attention to Meg and making her the center of unwanted gossip. Things escalate when Meg and Michael start dating, and Peter, predictably, takes things too far. During one particularly infamous scene, Peter confronts Michael at the Griffin household and accidentally sends him running off in fear after a ridiculous threat. To add insult to injury, Peter later embarrasses Meg again during a social event involving Connie D'Amico, Quahog High's resident mean girl. When Connie teases Meg, Peter intervenes, but instead of defending his daughter with dignity, he punches Connie right in the face. While this technically stops the bullying, it leaves Meg utterly embarrassed and makes her a bigger spectacle at school. It's Meg's birthday, a day that should be all about her. But when the Griffins throw her a party, Peter turns it into the ultimate cringe fest.
I'm gonna be 17, you jerks!
First, he shows up already tipsy, classic Peter, and instead of celebrating his daughter, he shifts all the attention to himself. Wearing a garish, inappropriate costume that looks like it came out of a bad joke shop,
Meg, guess what P-Pants got you for your birthday? A scarf!
Peter immediately makes Meg's party guests feel like they've stumbled into the wrong event. So, Peter, trying to be the life of the party, as usual, shows up dressed as a clown. He's all smiles and laughter, too much laughter really, and his actions are the embodiment of a father trying way too hard to be funny. At this moment, instead of being a decent dad and letting Meg have her moment, Peter decides that Meg's birthday party needs more attention, and he's going to be the one to provide it. Peter starts by pulling a classic magic trick where he shoves a whole bunch of scarves into his mouth. No, really. He gorges on scarves like they're the world's weirdest snack, and just when you think he can't get more ridiculous, he proceeds to vomit the scarves back up. But that's not the worst part.
Here you go, Meg.
I don't want them!
Take them!
Oh no, he goes on to give the scarves to Meg as a gift, presenting them as if it's some sort of impressive performance, making her feel more embarrassed. All this happens in front of all of Meg's friends, who are standing there, utterly mortified, as they watch this grown man behave like a complete fool. The Griffins and the Simpsons cross paths in a crossover event that brings both families together.
Apu, a dozen donuts for our albino visitors.
Wow, for real?
The episode centers around the Griffins visiting Springfield, where they meet the Simpsons, and hilarity ensues as the two families experience the quirks and dynamics of each other's worlds.
So this is my room. Please excuse the mess. There, that's better.
Lisa hands Meg the saxophone, expecting her to be excited.
Oh, whenever I feel any pain or loneliness, I just play away the blues on my saxophone.
And perhaps even looking forward to playing music as Lisa has done in the past. Meg, for once, is genuinely moved by the gift and is touched by Lisa's kindness.
Lisa, no one has ever done anything this nice for me. You're amazing, and I will never be like you.
But Peter, who is completely oblivious to how important the moment is for both Meg and Lisa, makes the situation awkward. Peter, with absolutely no tact, immediately grabs the saxophone from Meg's hands and throws it straight into the garbage bin. This happens right in front of Lisa, who's standing there, shocked and hurt by his disrespectful act. It's one of those cringeworthy moments where Peter shows his complete lack of social awareness. Meg, as usual, is left feeling humiliated and embarrassed. The gift she just received, which was meant to be a meaningful gesture, is discarded without any consideration, simply because Peter found it funny. Meg's face drops and she's left trying to process the ridiculousness of her dad's behavior. But the worst part is seeing Lisa's reaction. Her face says it all. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Which of these moments shows Peter at his most embarrassing for Meg? Which scene had you cringing the hardest? Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon so you never miss out on more hilarious Family Guy content. See you in the next one.